Hey guys, welcome back into Legacy. So actually, I thought this was going to take me a little longer than it did to get this prep, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the video now. We're going to talk about Warlocks and Dragon Warriors because I am continuing the revisiting their professions. Okay, make sure I've got all this title and everything right. I think I had to make sure I changed everything. Uh, Warlocks and Dragon Warriors are a little bit different types of spellcasters. The Warlock is a fighter mage, and they master both sword and sorcery. Um, they tend to be less powerful than sorcerers. They get lower spell points than sorcerers do, uh, but they gain some really cool abilities, starting typically around third rank, um, that make them really, really, really good. So, getting started with that, it's pretty simplistic. The minimum requirements for this profession are you have to have an intelligence of 9 and a psychic talent, or intelligence 11 and a psychic talent of 9 to be part of this class. So they're actually a little hard to qualify as. Warlocks are pretty difficult to qualify as, considering you're rolling what you're rolling to get your stats. Um, the cool thing with Warlocks is Warlocks at the beginning of their career, they start with like a basic understanding of all weapons. Um, and they can throw them out at any point. But starting at third rank, they have to specialize within two groups, and I'll show you the groups here in a second. When you're attacking with a group of one of the chosen weapon groups, use your full attack score. If you have to fight with one that's not, you take -2 to the attack score. You can also change your weapon groups up as you level. So say you find yourself needing a different group because you're not finding enough of a certain group of weapons, or somebody finds a magical weapon that doesn't fall into your weapon group and they think you should use it, you can do that, but it does take 2 months of game time and you're considered proficient in neither group, which means it's a -2 to the attack during that training time. Meanwhile, this down here is the weapon groups. I'm hoping it's big enough for you guys to see. Um, there's a handful of weapons in each group. Uh, for example, Group 1 is mostly bludgeoning weapons, flails, maces, morning stars, and then you have Weapon Group 6, which is a lot of ranged weapons, thrown daggers, slings, javelins, crossbows. Um, it really comes down to what kind of warlock you're wanting to play. You want to play melee, you want to play ranged. Um, so um, they're pretty nice. I really actually super like the idea of weapon groups for warlocks because um, they actually get, uh, for all extensive purposes, they get really, really potent pretty fast. Another really cool core class. This is actually a cool core class ability. Warlocks can simultaneously cast spells, um, and I'll show you what that looks like. Give you examples of some of those spells here in a second. Um, if the spell is listed as being able to be simultaneously cast, it can be cast as one action with another spell that's also simultaneously castable. You have to have enough magic points to cast both, but it can only cost you one action to pull off both spells, um, which is going to be a little weird because you can power up a lot faster than other casters can. You can build your defenses and stuff faster than most casters can, but you're going to burn through your spell points your MP a little bit faster also because of that. Warlocks are also cool because they can wear anything up to chainmail without incurring any combat factor penalties, just like barbarians. They do suffer the penalties for plate mail, uh, but they also do not suffer any penalties to spellcasting for wearing armor, unlike elementalists, and sorcerers. Um, Elementalists and sorcerers are more traditional casters. So those are your innate abilities right there. Those are the ones you get when you build a warlock. That's what you get. Uh, Except weapon groups, which happens at third rank or third level. They do also get a pretty cool set of abilities that they can choose. From 8th rank on, you can choose one of these abilities, and we'll go through them real fast. they don't quite have all the special skills of a sorcerer. They can't read magic scrolls. They can't do potions and all that. But they do get some cool stuff. The big one here is praise enemy. Uh, what you do is you take a round to eye up an opponent. The GM rolls a d20 if it's under your psychic talent. You can accurately guess the profession and rank of a character you're eyeballing immediately. If it fails, you randomly determine the rank by rolling 3d6 minus 7. And you can just give what a profession seems most plausible based on the circumstances. But it has to be kind of plausible. Like, clearly a barbarian is not going to be a sorcerer, but you could mistake him for an unarmored knight, for example, and all that kind of stuff. It does take one combat round for it to take effect, and it can only be used once per character you look at. You cannot double check and say, "Oh, I want to eyeball that again." Gotta get it. If you fail, you fail. And because it's not a spell, it is not cloaked by things that cloak your thoughts. So spells like Deceit or Mind Cloak do not cloak the ability for him to know what you are. However, the assassin gets an ability to disguise himself, which does actually affect that. A warlock eyeballing an assassin who's under disguise could realistically believe he's a knight of 3rd or 4th rank when he's an assassin of 10th, because he purposely makes himself look weaker than he is. I mean, that's just how it goes. Arrow cutting. Warlocks are the only class in the game that have the ability to pit their defense against a bowman's attack, including all range modifiers and visibility modifiers. Generally speaking, when you're having a thrown or a shot weapon at you, you cannot apply your defense or consider defense 0 against them. The warlock starting 8th rank can take the ability to literally cut arrows, javelins, spears, stuff like that out of the air or catch them. You have to be able to see your attacker, because you have to be able to time the parry. It does not apply to crossbow bolts. That's the only thing it does not apply to. That is actually a stupidly powerful ability. Hence the reason it has to be taken at 8th rank. You also would still have to split your defense as normal if you have multiple arrows coming at you, if you want to use that ability against multiple bowmen, for example. You can't just apply your defense against each of them. You still have to split it as if you're fighting multiple opponents, which, fair enough. Warlocks also take half the penalty when fighting blind. So if they're in pitch darkness, thick smoke, invisible foes, any of that kind of stuff, they only take -2 attack, -4 defense versus -4 attack, -8 defense that normally incurs to most fighters. Again, you have to take this as an ability beyond 8th rank, so this is not something that a regular warlock just starts with, but that is a super potent fighting ability. Warlocks are some of the best fighters in the game, surprisingly. They also gain the ability for unarmed combat. If you choose weapon group 8, which is unarmed, as one of your fields of specialization, when fighting unarmed, you can use a d6 for your armor bypass roll and inflict 3 points on a successful blow of damage on a successful blow against, I believe it's normally a d4 and 1 point for most people. So unarmed combat with a properly trained warlock is absolutely terrifying, especially since he's going to be using his full attack and everything else. And you add all that stuff together, you can make a really scary combat warlock. They also gain the ability to enchant weapons and armor. Minor enchantment is a little weird. It has 3 levels, so you have to take it 3 times, up to 3 times. It's basic, advanced, and master. Basic gives you the ability for +1, advanced +2, master +3 weapons. They follow the same rules for creating enchanted weapons as sorcerer enchanted weapons. They take a long time to create. That is one of the only things, again, with this game, crafting is not something you do on the fly. You're going to spend a long time crafting stuff. Same thing with armor. You can minor enchant armor. Enchantment on armor increases armor factor. Uh, so something that has an armor factor of 6, a +1 armor would give it an armor factor of 7. Um, and it's nice. That's the minor enchantment aspects. Major enchantment weapons. There are 3 sword types you can create. You can only create one of each of these swords in your lifetime. It can be any sword you want it to be. It does not have to be a specific type of sword. It can just qualify as a sword. Um, you uh, take a year and a day to craft these weapons. Their abilities are the only abilities they get. They don't count as like +1 weapons or anything else, but they can be really scary. Like the Sever Blade rolls a D20 for armor bypass rolls. Um, but the damage inflicted is as if it's a normal sword. So the generality is a Sever Blade is probably going to bypass most armor, but it's only going to do normal damage. And again, you cannot enchant these weapons to be +1 weapons or anything else. They are very specific weapons. Like I said, you can only create one of each type throughout your lifetime. Uh, period. You can see there on the page, it's kind of small. It gives you all the rules for what each of these swords do. There's the Volcanic Sword, the Sever Blade, and the Vampire Sword. So it's pretty fun. Armor, again, you have to have mastered minor enchantment armor, just like you have to master minor enchantment weapon before you can do or major enchantments. When you take your skill, you select one type of the armor given below. You must take the skill a second time if you want to create another one of these armors, like the types of magic armor. All of them are considered plate now. They have no magic bonuses, cannot be given magic bonuses, and it takes 3 years of your time to fashion these. These are not, like I said, this is not a fast process. And again, there's an all plate, there's Herculean armor, and there's fortress armor. Each one has its own special rules. I'm not going to get too deep into all the special rules on them, but like Herculean armor, for example, gives you a strength of 20 at all times, which is going to make you like be able to like lift buses. Um, enchantment in this game, like I said, under sorcerer, if you go watch the sorcerer video, enchantment, again, I'm going to repeat it, is not a slow process in this game or a fast process in this game. It does not happen overnight. They are incredibly, incredibly difficult to enchant and to build. You're better off finding enchanted items. And the final ability they get is they do gain the ability to ride a warhorse, the same as a barbarian uh, or a knight. So all that being said, warlocks are without fail one of the best, if not the best, fighting class in the game in specialized weapons. Um, they their spells can get pretty potent. I meant to show you guys something real quick while I'm thinking about it. Let me go ahead and go to that page so you can see what I was talking about with the simultaneous casting. So when you go to the warlock spells section of the book, you'll see each level has one spell in here that has a little asterisk next to it. It's hard to see on the screen, I'm sure. If it has an asterisk next to it, if you're looking at the book on page 106, it could be simultaneously cast with another spell that has the asterisk. And again, each spell costs a number of magic points equal to the level of the spell. You cannot simultaneously cast the same spell twice. So you can't cast Eyes of Night twice, but you could cast Eyes of Night and Enhancement for a total of 4 magic points. Generally, you're not going to be simultaneously casting until at least second to third level, third rank. So just so you guys know, I want to show that to you so you guys can see that for yourselves. But warlocks are incredibly fun. They're incredibly detailed characters. They're a lot of fun to play. If you're wanting to play a sword mage, you're wanting to play a blade singer type character, that is the class I would choose. If you can qualify for it, like I said, incredibly difficult to qualify for because you're rolling 3d6 down the line. So it is not easy to qualify as. But if you can qualify as, I really would say that's the class to check out. The next class will be the Elementalist. Here in a couple weeks, I will get to that and get you guys the Elementalist class done. But as far as this is going, just so you guys are aware, we are kind of starting to get close to winding down this series. I'm probably not going to do too much of a deep dive into the world of Legend itself. I am going to do a video on Legend, but I'm not going to get into like full history and all of that. I'm going to give you guys kind of a better overview of Legend itself, so you know what the world is. But um, I don't want to go too deep because that could be several videos in and of itself. But we've got a couple more classes to cover just out of the core book, and then we do have the generic. I do want to do a video on the general rules, uh, going over some of the general rules, um, and some side stuff. Uh, and I also do want to close out the series with talking about uh, some of the other books in the series, some of the other books that are available. Particularly, there is a book with some more classes in it. There is a lot of stuff on Drive Through RPG. You can find it if you look. They do support fan made goods for this game. A lot of it comes out in the Casket of Phase magazine, which you can get on Drive Through RPG. But all that being said, guys, comments, questions, concerns below. As always, we welcome your thoughts and stuff. And as always, follow the 3 rules. I'm not going to repeat them in the last video. Uh, but as always, hope you guys have fun.